Have you ever wondered what the darkest secrets behind the most haunted locations on Earth are? Get ready for this journey because I'm gonna walk you through the 10 most haunted locations on planet Earth. Hello fellow terrestrials, and welcome to yet another video. My name is Flori and this is Sofitarot. But before we start, do not forget to subscribe for weekly mystery videos and tarot readings. Also give this video a like so you can support my new and growing channel, and you can also follow me on my social media. Now without further ado, let's jump right into the video. The 10 most haunted locations in the world. So today we're talking about the 10 most haunted locations on this planet. I've done some research, also based myself on prior experiences, prior investigations done by other YouTubers, other paranormal investigators, and I came up to the conclusion that the following 10 locations might be the most haunted locations on this planet. So let's just take a look at location number 1. Location number 1, the Winchester Mystery House. So first up on our list is the Winchester Mystery House, which is nestled in San Jose, California. So the story of the Winchester house dates back from the 1800s. Back in that time, Sarah Winchester, the heir to the Winchester rifle fortune, believed she was cursed by the spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles. So what did she do? She embarked on a construction spree. She built and expanded the mansion with no real master plan in sight. And what this resulted in was basically a labyrinth of staircases that led to nowhere, also doors that opened into walls, and rooms that seemed to have no purpose at all. Now here's where everything gets more eerie. Legend has it that Sarah was in constant communication with spirits, and that she designed this mansion to appease them in a way. This construction went on 24/7, and the workers reportedly were guided by supernatural forces. And as a result, we obviously get this mansion that is as mysterious as it is haunting. But it's not just a bizarre construction of this Winchester house that makes it have this spooky reputation. Visitors and even staff members have reported ghostly encounters, also strange noises and unexplained occurrences. Some even say that they felt a presence, as if their spirits of those killed by Winchester rifles still linger within the walls. So whether you're a skeptic or not, I would still recommend that you visit the Winchester house if you ever get the chance. Location number 2, the Sallie House. So our second location lies in Atchison, Kansas. This is where the Sallie House stands. A seemingly ordinary residence that has an extraordinary reputation for paranormal activity. But the question here is, what is it that makes it so terrifying? So back in the 1990s, a young couple moved into the Sallie House hoping to start a new chapter in their lives. Little did they know that they were about to become entangled in a nightmare of supernatural proportions. The hauntings began really innocently, like, their normal strange noises in the night, but also going to objects moving on their own, and even unexplained shadows appearing in the corners. But unfortunately, as time went on, these paranormal activities kind of escalated to the maximum. So the focal point of these hauntings is a girl named Sally. Sally is a girl that was believed to be a spirit of a child who lived in that house in the late 1800s. According to the legend, Sally was once a patient of the family doctor who is said to have performed a botched appendectomy on her in this house. Since then, Sally's restless spirit is said to roam the halls of this house, tormenting anyone and everyone who dares to cross her path. Basically, there's a lot of people who have already reported scratches in this house, but not just being scratched, also being pushed, and let me tell you, even possessed by Sally's spirit. But of course, if you're thinking about a visit to the Sallie house, Sally is not the only spirit in this house. There are also other creepy entities hanging around the house too, so I wish you good luck. Location number 3, the Lizzie Borden house. Now we're moving on to Fall River, Massachusetts, where we'll be visiting the Lizzie Borden house. We're talking here about a seemingly ordinary Victorian-era residence with a very dark past, that has captured the imagination of true crime enthusiasts and also paranormal investigators. So back in 1892, the Borden family was rocked by a brutal double murder that will really go down in history. Andrew and Abby Borden, Lizzie Borden's father and stepmother, were found beaten to death in their own home. Suspicion immediately fell onto Lizzie, who was accused of the gruesome murders. Despite a massive trial that has captivated the whole nation, Lizzie Borden was discharged due to lack of evidence. But the whispers of her guilt have lingered for over a century. The Lizzie Borden house has become a hotbed for paranormal investigations. Today, the Lizzie Borden house has become a museum, and it also operates as a bed and breakfast, offering the guests the chance to take a step back in time and experience this famous murder scene. If you ever think about visiting the Lizzie Borden house, you can definitely explore the rooms, even the rooms where the murders took place. You can also examine all the artifacts that are there and even spend the night in the very rooms where Andrew and Abby Borden met their ultimate end. But just a warning, many who have dared to visit the Lizzie Borden house or spend the night at this house reported strange noises, unexplained footsteps, and of course even ghostly apparitions. So be ready for all of these things. Location number 4, the Stanley Hotel. Now let's make our way to Estes Park, Colorado, to the famous Stanley Hotel. This hotel is said to have inspired Stephen King's The Shining. The Stanley Hotel is also an iconic landmark with a reputation for being one of the most haunted places in America. Built in 1909 by F.O. Stanley, the Stanley Hotel radiates old world charm and greatness with the stunning architecture. So what sets this hotel apart from the rest, really? I mean, it's not just its beauty that draws all the visitors coming to the Stanley Hotel. It's mostly the ghostly inhabitants that are said to roam its halls. So legend has it that the spirits of former guests and staff members still linger within the walls of the Stanley Hotel, unable to move on to the next life. From phantom piano music echoing through the halls to even ghostly apparitions in the mirrors. There's really no shortage of eerie encounters here. But perhaps the most famous ghostly resident in the Stanley Hotel is that of Mrs. Elizabeth Wilson, a former housekeeper who is said to still perform her duties long after her death. Guests have reported seeing her ghostly figure tidying up the rooms, the corridors, and then just to simply vanish into thin air. The Stanley Hotel is also believed to be haunted by the spirits of children who are said to be seen playing in the hallways. So today, obviously the Stanley Hotel is not trying to hide this ghostly reputation that they have. Obviously they're owning it, and they're even offering ghostly tours and paranormal investigations to anyone who would like to go ahead and do it. So if the Stanley Hotel caught your attention over there, what are you waiting for? Location number 5, the Queen Mary. Docked in Long Beach, California, we have the Queen Mary. Back in her heyday, the Queen Mary was an example of luxury travel. It would ferry passengers across the Atlantic, and let me say, they would do it in style. But when World War II broke out, she was repurposed as a troop ship. And this time she started ferrying soldiers across the ocean instead. Now here's where things get really interesting. During her wartime service, the Queen Mary had reportedly several encounters with enemy submarines and even collided with other ships in the fog. And let's just say some believe that the spirits of those who perished during these incidents are still lingering on board. So the Queen Mary really has it all. From ghostly figures wandering the corridors to weird, mysterious sounds coming from nowhere, the Queen Mary is really said to be overflowing with paranormal activity. The staff is already so tired of all the reports of ghostly encounters by the guests. And the most important ghostly figure of the Queen Mary to this day is said to be that of the Lady in White. The Lady in White is believed to be the spirit of a woman who tragically died on board. She's been reported to wander the decks and has made her appearance many times. And it's because of this repeated appearance that she has become a very big figure of the Queen Mary. But again, it's not just the only report that we have from the Queen Mary. There's a lot of other reports, like footsteps and really mysterious knocking. All of these things have already been reported as well. So to this day, the Queen Mary is operating as a hotel, as a museum, and also as an event venue. So if you're interested, you can definitely go spend a night or two.
Location number 6, the Island of Dolls.
Now we head south to Xochimilco, Mexico. So number 6, we are venturing into the spooky realm of the Island of Dolls in Mexico, also known as La Isla de Muñecas, a place where dolls basically rule the land. Tucked away in the murky waters of Xochimilco, there is this place called the Island of Dolls. Sounds innocent, right? Well, it isn't. This paradise-like island has got a really dark secret lurking beneath its surface. So legend has it that a very long time ago, a hermit named Don Julian Santana Barrera made the Island of Dolls his home. So one day, unfortunately, he discovered the body of a drowned girl in the canal, along with her doll floating nearby. And in an attempt to appease her restless spirit, Barrera began collecting dolls and hanging them from the trees as offerings. But as time went on, Barrera's obsession with dolls grew bigger and bigger, and the island became overrun with thousands of decaying dolls of all shapes and sizes hanging around the island. I mean, if you take a look at those lifeless eyes that visitors claim to feel being followed by, I mean, it definitely casts like a sense of sorrow to the whole island. So fast forward to today, the island obviously has become like a hotspot for tourists. It attracts literally people from all over the world, people who are eager to find out more about this really scary history behind the dolls. And let me tell you, there's a lot of reports of people visiting the island that say to, as soon as they step foot on this island, start feeling completely uneasy, as if the dolls were literally watching them. Some people even reported feeling the eyes and the heads of the dolls moving as they walk, as if they were watching them. And of course, many people believe that the Island of Dolls is haunted by the spirit of the girl that has been found drowned. So yeah, have you ever visited this island?
Location number 7, the Catacombs of Paris.
We descend now into the darkness to explore the bone-chilling catacombs located in France, in the city of Paris. There is a whole hidden world beneath Paris' surface, if you've ever known. I mean, these catacombs literally extend for miles and miles beneath the city. So if you've ever been to Paris before and you haven't heard of the catacombs down there, well, you need to go back to Paris. The catacombs were originally limestone quarries dating back to the Roman era. But as time went on, in the late 18th century, they were transformed into an ossuary with the purpose of alleviating the overcrowding that was taking place in the city's cemetery. Well, they didn't have any space in the cemetery, so they had to start taking the bodies of deceased people somewhere else. And underneath the city is where they started collecting these bodies. The bones of millions of Parisians were transferred underground, arranged in eerie patterns, and really stacked from floor to ceiling, creating a chilling display that has captivated visitors for centuries. So today the catacombs are open to the public. You can go for guided tours or just go by yourself. Anyway, the catacombs are really not for the faint-hearted. Imagine you're trying to make your way through these narrow, cramped passages with ceilings so low that you can practically touch them. And to top it off, you're stumbling around in total darkness with nothing but the bones of the long gone to keep you company. Talk about a bone-chilling experience, right? I would really think about it twice before entering those catacombs. I don't know about you. And let me tell you, some visitors who ventured down can swear to have heard these really eerie whispers echoing all through the tunnels. It really gives me the shivers just thinking about it.
Location number 8, Oki Gahara Forest.
So now we're making all our way to Japan to the Oki Gahara Forest, also known as the Suicide Forest. Maybe you've heard about this one. we find ourselves at the base of Mount Fuji, at a forest that is not only known as being a sea of trees, but most commonly for all of the suicides that take place in it. So for centuries, the Oki Gahara Forest has been associated with death and supernatural, even in Japanese folklore. It is believed to be a place where restless spirits dwell, leading travelers astray. In recent years, the forest has gained notoriety for a much darker reason. It started to become more and more notorious for being a site of suicides, with hundreds of people taking their lives in this forest each year. The reasons behind this tragic trend are really complex, but many people in Japan believe that this forest has some supernatural forces driving people to despair. Despite all of the efforts by the authorities to prevent these suicides and even trying to raise awareness about mental illnesses and mental health in general, this forest still stands as a chilling reminder of how fragile life can be and how deep people's pain can go. There are countless of stories about people who went in and never returned, like literally being gone with no trace. And those travelers who have made it back have reported to have seen really weird stuff, like things that don't belong to this world. There have been thousands of reports that the air itself in the Oki Gahara Forest is really heavy with all the energy and all the sadness. I mean, there's no wonder why many people who set foot on this forest feel all this heavy energy when stepping in. Would you dare go into that forest? Let me know in the comments down below.
Location number 9. The Eastern State Penitentiary.
And now back to the States we go, this time to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We're talking here about the Eastern State Penitentiary, which was built in 1829 and was the world's first true penitentiary designed to isolate prisoners in solitary confinement as a form of rehabilitation. But as time went on, these harsh conditions and solitary confinement itself really took their toll on the prisoners and started leading to riots, madness. So the Eastern State Penitentiary really has a very brutal history. And of course, all of the deaths that took place in this penitentiary are said to keep haunting its halls. This prison has really become home to some of America's most dangerous criminals. Today, many people have said to have heard lots of strange sounds when visiting this penitentiary and really all sorts of spooky things happening.
Location number 10. Bangor Fort.
So last but not least, we now go all the way to Rajasthan, India, so that we can explore the ruins of haunted Fort Bangor. So Fort Bangor is an ancient citadel full of history and really creepy stories. Dating back to the 17th century, Bangor Fort was once a thriving hub of commerce and culture with palaces, temples, and markets giving life to its walls. But legend has it that the fort fell under a curse that was cast by a sorcerer who fell in love with Princess of Bangor. According to this legend, the sorcerer's love was unrequited, and in a fit of rage, he cursed the fort, dooming it to destruction and ensuring that no one would ever live within its walls again. From that day forth, Bangor Fort became known as the most haunted place in India. Today, unfortunately, this fort stands in ruins and really overgrown with vegetation, but obviously it still has this eerie reputation. People who have been to Fort Bangor say to have seen like crazy stuff, also hearing voices, spotting ghostly figures, and also seeing weird shadows moving around. And obviously, Fort Bangor, with all of these crazy stories, instead of repelling people, it has kind of like become like a touristic spot. So if you've ever thinking of going to India, you know where to go. Alright, and that wraps up the 10 most haunted spots on planet Earth. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever visited one of these spots, what your favorite story was, and if you haven't, if you would visit one of these spots. Honestly, I really hope that I can at some point start doing investigations and going to all of these spots. I mean, that would be crazy. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and a comment down below. And again, you can also follow me on my social media. So, until next time.